Imagine waking up tomorrow, walking to the beach, taking one deep breath, and diving straight into the ocean without a scuba tank, without an oxygen mask, and without ever worrying about coming back to the surface. You breathe underwater just as naturally as you breathe on land. Minutes turn into hours and hours turn into days. It sounds like something from a science fiction movie. But what if it actually happened? What if every human on Earth suddenly gained the ability to breathe underwater? Would we build cities beneath the sea? Would the oceans become humanity's second home? Or would we discover that the underwater world is far more dangerous than we ever imagined? Because this single evolutionary change wouldn't just transform our daily lives. It would completely reshape human civilization. First, the idea sounds absolutely incredible. We could freely explore coral reefs, swim alongside sea turtles, and visit ancient shipwrecks without any special equipment. Places that are currently accessible only to trained divers would become open to everyone. The ocean, which covers more than 70% of our planet, would no longer be an unexplored mystery. Instead, it would become an extension of our world. But before we imagine this incredible future, we need to answer one important question. Why can't humans breathe underwater today? The answer lies inside our lungs. Human lungs are designed to extract oxygen from the air, not from water. Although water contains dissolved oxygen, our lungs simply aren't capable of absorbing it. Fish, on the other hand, have specialized organs called gills that continuously filter oxygen from moving water. If water enters our lungs, it blocks the tiny air sacs known as alveoli, preventing oxygen from reaching our bloodstream. That's why we drown. But for this thought experiment, let's imagine that humans suddenly evolved powerful biological gills, allowing us to breathe underwater as easily as fish do. The first major change wouldn't be transportation or technology. It would be where we live. Today, cities struggle with overcrowding and limited land. But the oceans cover nearly 3/4 of Earth's surface. Suddenly, humanity would gain access to the largest and used living space on the planet. Engineers would begin designing underwater neighborhoods, transparent domes, underwater hotels, schools, hospitals, and shopping centers. Imagine eating dinner while whales glide past your window, or waking up each morning surrounded by colorful coral reefs. Coastal nations could expand beneath the waves instead of competing for expensive land. Underwater real estate might become the most valuable property on Earth. The global economy would change almost overnight. Entire industries, such as scuba diving equipment and oxygen tank manufacturing, would become nearly obsolete. At the same time, entirely new industries would emerge. Underwater construction companies, deep-sea farming, marine transportation, underwater tourism, and ocean mining would create millions of new jobs. Scientists would finally have unlimited access to explore the deep sea, an environment that remains one of the least explored places on Earth. Thousands of undiscovered species could be found, and some of them might even lead to life-saving medicines or revolutionary scientific breakthroughs. Daily life would become almost unrecognizable. Family vacations might take place in underwater resorts instead of beachfront hotels. Restaurants could be built beneath the sea, offering breathtaking views of marine life while customers enjoy their meals. Sports would evolve into entirely new forms. Imagine underwater football, three-dimensional swimming races, or deep-sea obstacle competitions. Even the Olympic Games might introduce aquatic events that would be impossible in today's world. Human culture itself would expand into an entirely new environment. However, this incredible ability wouldn't come without serious consequences. Just because we could breathe underwater doesn't mean the ocean would suddenly become safe. The sea is home to countless dangerous creatures, including sharks, barracudas, venomous jellyfish, sea snakes, stonefish, and giant squids. As millions of people began spending more time underwater, encounters with these animals would become far more common. Some species might become aggressive as humans invaded their habitats, while others could simply mistake us for prey. Instead of being visitors to the ocean, humans would become permanent members of one of the most complex ecosystems on Earth, and that would bring entirely new risks. Another challenge would be water pressure. Although breathing underwater would no longer be a problem, our bodies would still face enormous pressure as we descended deeper into the ocean. Every 10 meters below the surface significantly increases the surrounding pressure. Without major biological changes or advanced protective technology, humans would still be limited to relatively shallow depths. The deepest parts of the ocean would remain just as dangerous as they are today, proving that breathing underwater alone wouldn't make us masters of the sea. There would also be major environmental consequences. Humans have already transformed forests, rivers, and the atmosphere. If billions of people suddenly began living beneath the waves, fragile ecosystems like coral reefs could suffer irreversible damage. Pollution, underwater construction, noise, and increased human activity could threaten countless marine species. The oceans have remained relatively untouched compared to land, but that balance could disappear very quickly. Humanity might accidentally destroy the very environment that made this new way of life possible. So, what if humans could breathe underwater? At first glance, it seems like the greatest evolutionary gift imaginable. We would unlock an entirely new world filled with adventure, discovery, and endless opportunities. New cities, new industries, and new scientific breakthroughs could transform civilization forever. But every extraordinary ability comes with extraordinary responsibilities. The oceans have evolved for billions of years without humans living permanently beneath the surface. If we suddenly entered that world, we wouldn't simply adapt to it, we would change it forever. Perhaps the most fascinating question isn't whether humans should be able to breathe underwater. Maybe the real question is why nature never gave us that ability in the first place. Sometimes, the limitations we wish to overcome are the very things that keep our planet in balance. And perhaps, in ways we don't yet understand, our inability to breathe underwater isn't a flaw of evolution. It's one of its greatest protections.